Namaste. Today in our series Swatantra Bharat 75, Genius of India as a Key to the Crisis of Humanity, we have our guest as a very special person, uh, Mrs. Mitali Namchoom. She is a very dynamic young IAS officer of Arunachal Pradesh, and her other, you know, identification for us is she is a very well known our past VKV student, Vivekananda Kendra Vidhyalaya student. So welcome, Mitali ji. I'll prefer to call you Mitali with your permission.
Thank you, sir.
Since you call me sir as one of your
Sure,
sir.
sir.
So that is liberty I'm taking. But first of all, a hearty welcome to this particular program. As you know, this program is to inspire the people across India to think of this career also as an option to become IAS officers or try to channelize their energies for the generation of the nation, the nation making. So, first of all, welcome and thanks for joining, taking out time from your busy schedule. I will like to ask right from the beginning. I have seen you, I believe we met in VKV Tafragaon, right? You were student of VKV Tafragaon.
Yes,
And
sir.
then that time Manda Didi and Aparna Didi and all these people we met there. Varsha Didi also I think was there. So we remember you as student of VKV, and then suddenly I heard that before few years I heard that now you are IAS officer. So that's an amazing journey it must have been. Will you like to tell a little bit about that? How you thought of this career and how you managed to ultimately succeed in the whole thing?
Yes, sir. I never really planned for the IAS per se. But yes, when we were younger and we were studying in VKV Tafragam, and during your Independence Day or your Republic Day, when the DC used to come and visit, I particularly remember a female DC very long back when we were just kids, and I think she must have been from south of India. So it is very fascinating, the very idea of somebody being a DC and a woman being a DC. But however, I've never really thought about getting into the services per se. So I was pursuing my BCom honors from Delhi University, and then I went to do my mass comm in advertising and mass communication. But so along the way, that is my own personal how I sort of came into service. I mean, obviously people have different. Uh, uh, they have their different backgrounds and how they go into the service. But I quite remember that I always thought, okay, if I was almost always good with exams. So I thought if I'm good with exams, so this exam shouldn't be so difficult for me to crack, right? So, and obviously, given the fact that you were inspired once when you were a kid, and also at that juncture in life when you look at your career options, though you have other kinds of interests, but then you also look for, you know, a profession where you can not just earn a sustainable livelihood for yourself, but also where you can also sort of give back to the people who have been a part of your growing up and who have been a part of the community in which you grew. So I thought that one should try the civil services, and I don't think there is any other job in this country which gives satisfaction of both personally and also professionally. So that is how after college and after doing my mass comm, then though I was working for some time, I was in the private sector working for some time, but I thought I should give this a try. And because I've been good at exams, I thought maybe I have this chance for me to crack this exam. So that is how I got into the civil service preparation, sir.
Uh,
And
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, so and getting into the preparations, so it has been a long struggle because I have also been working. So this exam by itself, there are people who don't take coaching, and there are people who can get through the exam, even in the first go and without coaching. But then, still, for people from our background, from Arunachal Pradesh, and at the point of time when we were trying for the exams, there were not many people to guide us. So going into the exam and going into the mode of trying to prepare for the exam, because there were not many people to guide, so it was very difficult actually, and then trying to find out coaching centers and what subjects to choose. So it actually took me quite some time to actually get into the groove of the exam, because I was also working, and getting leaves was difficult. So that is how, but still we prepared, and struggled for a couple of years. It was my fourth interview actually, in fact, in which I got through. So it was a long
So
struggle to get into the services.
it, it, it must be a long, you can say, preparation, struggle, and tenacity, patience. All those things are really tested in UPSC. And that time you were in Delhi. You were working in Delhi, or you were?
I was in Delhi because I have done my college from Delhi, my graduation in BCom honors from Sri Ram College of Commerce.
Yeah.
And then I went on to do my post graduation from Indian Institute of Mass Comm, Delhi. So after that, I was actually working as a freelancing copywriter for Yahoo. So and also doing some copywriting jobs here and there. So it is then, yes. So when I was preparing, I prepared from Delhi, sir.
Okay. Why? Because as you mentioned, whether coaching classes, how do much they help? Because Delhi is one of the main centers, like Pune. Delhi is one of the main centers for UPSC preparation. So, would you like to talk on that for the youngsters, whether they should take or they should not take, or how much they should take help from the
I, I
such?
think I think I think Delhi is in the country the best center to sit down for preparing for an exam, but obviously provided you have the resources for it, right? And there are so many of us who cannot afford those resources. It's just that because I had done my college from Delhi and my post graduation from Delhi, I could have I had a group of friends. I knew the places where I could sort of sustain myself within the limited resources. So I could and I was working, so whatever little came, I could sustain myself. So that is how it is. But I think people, if you're not in Delhi, it is okay wherever you have a good coaching center, especially if you are already graduating in a subject which you intend to take for your exam. I don't really think you need coaching,
Okay.
right? But yes, coaching is beneficial in the fact that coaching actually provides you, it gives you a direction. Because once we sort of get into the examination mode, we feel as if there is a sea of sort of information to take in, and you don't know which information to take in, whether that's the correct information or the correct direction you're taking. Coaching centers actually help you with that, and they show you a direction. If this is a subject, this is how you go about things. If it is general studies, if it is current affairs, and now this, I think there's a lot of addition which was not there during my times. So but whatever it is, coaching centers give you a direction, number one. Also, coaching center helps you meet people who are into the same struggle, who are also studying, they're in the same struggle, they're in the same frame of mind, and they are also collecting info, they are also making notes. So it helps to interact with such people and to have that atmosphere for yourself, so that you are constantly motivated, you are constantly energized to actually carry on. Because at the end of the day, it's not like pursuing a degree, right, where you know that if you have done your exam well, you get a degree in hand. Here, even if you have given your best attempt, if your attempts pass, then you don't get anything in hand, right? Except for obviously all the information cramming that happens. But yes, coaching centers, I think that way is important. Also, I think coaching is important in respect of more so not really getting going to classes. It is more important when you are starting to take tests. For
Mm.
example, half of this examination, actually more than half, I would say, more than reading, what is important is the ability to write and express yourself while writing that exam. Because no matter how much I cram in here, when I sit, and if my pen is not able to express what I'm wanting to answer, right, or what the examiner is asking of me, then there's no point. So I think answer writing and test sessions, these are very important. So I think coaching centers who cater to this need, I think they are good to go to. But obviously it depends upon the financial resources one has.
And then you came back. I mean, now you are in Arunachal Pradesh, right? And you're heading a very important area. I think you're from basically from rowing, right? You're from
No, sir. I belong to the Khampti tribe in
okay,
Arunachal Pradesh.
okay,
We call the Thai Khamtis.
okay,
Uh, yeah, but rowing was my place of district posting. I was posted as a deputy commissioner, which is also called as the collector in other parts of the country. So I was
yeah.
posted there for 3 years. But before that, when I came to Arunachal, when I actually after I left the academy and my probationary period was over, my first posting was in Daman Diu in Dadra Nagar Haveli.
Oh, oh,
Hi.
this I was not aware. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I was there from actually my even my district training, that's my probation training, apart from the academy at Masuri, was for 1 year in Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu.
Oh,
So I have been in that territory, in those union territories from 2012 to 2016. Once I got posted in 2000, by the I think by 2013 or something. So I have held several charges in the union territories. I have been collector Daman. I have also worked as in tourism. I have been a director, special secretary for tourism, and then for women and child welfare. And I have been special secretary in education also in the territory.
oh,
Arunachal Pradesh government, I joined, sir, in 2016.
oh,
In 2016. So initially, when I came, I was given charges as a special secretary education, also geology and mining, and also your PR, your information and public relations department. But then in 2017 December, then I was posted in the district. I've been there for almost 3 years, and just last December 2020, again I got transferred to the secretariat. Right now, I'm holding the charge of Secretary Urban Development, Town Planning, and the Urban Local Bodies.
wow, wow. That's something very fantastic. Your whole journey of different portfolios itself is so wonderful, and almost so many things you have handled in this entire span.
Yes.
How do you see, because when you are in that commanding position, you are so much of responsibility is there. At the same time, so much of possibility is there. There are a lot of things which can be possible, but at the same time, there are so many things which are huge, you can say, workload and responsibility. How do you see this whole, how you are able to manage? Because I was just listening to your only names. There was a education, child welfare, there was about the PR, so many names you have taken. I mean, I'm now wondering how you manage that particular portfolio. Any one or two you can tell us how you think of taking that whole thing in your mind and conceptualizing and delivering and taking care of so many people, being a leader of so many people under you. How does it happen?
So, over the years, being in the service, it's been almost 10 years now. So, when one looks back at what one has actually done and achieved, I don't really have anything concrete to show that in my 10 years of service, I have made the Red Fort or I've made the Taj Mahal or something. No. So,
That is very modest. That is very modest. The very portfolios are showing that now you are in the Secretariat of Arunachal Pradesh. So let us not. Okay, okay. You go ahead, because I know you are very modest from beginning. But yeah,
no, sir. So, sometimes when you reflect, you realize that in being a civil servant and especially in the IAS, it's a constant management. It's a management of people, it's a management of resources, and
yeah,
it's the management of situations. This is what we constantly do. So, for example, so if I'm given all these different portfolios at different points of time, I may not be technically qualified for most of this. For example, now I'm Secretary Urban Development. It's an engineering wing. It's an engineering wing consistent of all civil engineers in the
correct.
department. Obviously, I do not have an engineering background, right? But I'm managing the department. So, and whenever we are given a new portfolio, whatever the portfolio is, I think we have been trained in such a manner that, after the exams, obviously the exam covers all vast topics. So, as an IAS officer or as a civil servant, basically, you have a knowledge about almost everything on this planet or beyond the
True,
planet
true,
too,
true.
right? We have. Now, when you're put in a situation, which part of the knowledge do you bring into use? How do you converge the knowledge that you've learned in the classroom outside the classroom? Because you are sent also while you are training, while under training, apart from having classroom sessions, you are sent for trekking in the Himalayas. You are sent for an attachment with the army and the navy and the police. You are sent to different organizations, whether it is the space center somewhere, or you are sent to a solid waste management plant, or you're sent to so many different areas and fields. So when you're posted in several departments, so you sort of understand where to draw your information, your knowledge, how to deal with people. Like I said, sir, I realized that it is actually managing people, resources, and situations. Some subjects come easily, sir. For example, it would be very um, mm, sexist to say that women are better at education, or women are better at something related to women related issues. But for me, yes, taking up an issue like health or education or women's welfare, because you have sort of grown through this, right, sir? So it's easier to handle, because you also have a core understanding, even as people belonging to a community and society, how to deal with such situations. But then when you come to a department like the geology or mining, or even this works department you come to, you tend to you have to put yourself and try to learn from your juniors who are there in the office. So everybody from the peon to the clerk in the department, to your junior officials, and to your directors and assistant directors, and everybody who are down there in the line who report to you, they have spent years in the department, right? So you sort of start to build up from them. You enter a department, you learn from them what is there in the department. It would take about 3 to 6 months to actually understand it, and then then also put your personal inputs into the department. But sir, I think, yes, like I said, it's a constant management of time and resources, sir, and that is how we've been doing it, sir.
Yeah, and you very rightly pointed out. Today morning only I was discussing some with students that in management there are so many management of material and methods and machines and all that is there, but most important, crucial is management of people.
Yes.
So people is the main resource which makes or breaks the whole mission. Means you may have all the things, but if the team is not with you, it cannot be done. So I believe you must have been a very good team leader, right? That's what I want to believe, because unless a person is able to manage a group of people and they are able to fully, wholeheartedly give their support and cooperation and all know-how to them, to the leader, it's very difficult. Especially you have mentioned some of the very technical departments, whether urban development or geology and mining are extremely technical. I'm from engineering side, so I can understand how convincing you must have been when you discuss with people, because they should feel that yes, I can actually discuss and give my best to this person. Is that right? This reading is right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. People's management, I think, is the biggest thing, whether in your personal life or also in your professional life. Because apart from that, technical knowledge is something you can just open a book and read. And today you have a phone in your hand. So something I don't understand, or if I feel that somebody is, sort of trying to hide information from me or something, it's very easy to get to know such things. But for example, when somebody is in need, when your officials are down, dejected, or if some official is trying to be, trying to sort of outsmart or oversmart, be an oversmart. So what happens is you tend to learn how to deal with such people. And but I think the main thing is not to put people down, right? So even if somebody has done wrong, at first, that is the approach that I usually take. If somebody is also, somebody is doing wrong, something wrong, so uh, I tend to be very clear and very upfront about it. I call the individual, and not like in a gathering or so. I personally call the individual. See, this is the thing that I have got to know about you. See, personally, I have no issues, but however, this is not how this is to be done. So either you mend your ways. This is one time that I am, letting it go, but don't repeat it. And I think if you win the confidence of people, if you, in their difficult times or in the times when they're making mistake, if you still stand by them, so they tend to sort of they will come up to you, and they will come and then discuss if they have an issue. If my juniors, if they're being pressurized from somewhere else, even if from people above me, or above in the governance, if they're being pressurized to come up with something, I tell them very straight away, if you are being pressurized, you tell me that you're pressurized. I will see how to deal with it. I will see where to speak, where to talk. I will see that, your burden is a little lessened or something. So I think it is constantly managing and also giving utmost respect to whoever is there in your line, whether up or below. And in my service life, most of the time I've had difficult situations with my seniors while trying to protect my juniors. So this is a situation I've constantly faced, because I think once you go up the hierarchy, sort of little bit lose your patience. So so you sort of forget that the people who are down the line, they may be having more difficulties because the resource availability down the line is lesser, right? So somebody may be late, may not be able to report because he didn't have the vehicle to report, or he didn't have pole to fill in his vehicle, or he couldn't go because his child fell sick and there's nobody to take care. For us, luckily, most of it is taken care of. So I think once we go up the line or up the authority structure, we need to become more. And though, yes, this is true, we sort of lose patience, but still, I think we need to keep in mind that we need to be sensitive to people who are around us.
Very nice, very nicely done, very nicely told. Do you think in all this journey, your education in VKV, Vivekananda Kendra Vidhyalaya, and because Vivekananda Kendra Vidhyalaya comes not just with the academic excellence, it also comes with the personal excellence. They try to give you a lot of things in the your making your personality something different with Swami Vivekananda's inspiring thoughts behind all of us. We have got something common in us. In fact, I always feel that whenever I see somebody from Arunachal Pradesh or VKV, I feel somebody from my family. Believe me, I feel that, oh, this is something I'm connected with, or my relationship is there, as if it is my own family, my blood relation. So that has been developed. Do you feel this somewhere it has helped you coming from this background, or how does it happen actually?
Sir, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most of my friends who have studied from VKVs are concerned, yes, VKVs have been the main, what do I say, the pillar on the basis of which, or where we have actually built our personality. So we have built our basis on which we are actually molding our lives and sort of trying to grow in life. So in the VKVs, when we were there, when I've been in the VKVs since KG1, right? I think it was 1985. I think I joined VKV Kafragam as a kindergarten student. So since then, everything from learning about personal hygiene to taking care of one's own bodily needs, and then making friends, and then also anything, spirituality, education obviously was there, and then other kinds of personality development like sports. And uh, though I wouldn't say that I have good oratory skills, but still, sort of being able to speak your mind out when the situation demands. And then forming relationship. The best part about VKV has been the mm, good fortune to have lifelong friends, and also not just lifelong friends, also like bhaiyas and didis and everybody who were there. So like you said, it's very true that because of being in VKVs, so today if we travel across the country, and if I landed at any town in India, and then I have not booked a hotel or something, I know that there will be somebody from the VKV family, whether it's a VKV center by itself or somebody known. If I call up, I will have a place to stay. So that kind of a huge family structure we've been able to get only because we have studied in VKVs. And like I said, lifelong friends, no matter what, and that has been there. And in terms of even the kind of career choices we have made, or how it has helped how my personality has helped my career, is all I would give the entire credit to the VKVs. Later one sort of builds on how whatever you have learned in the childhood, one tends to build on this, but the basic structure remains the same, sir. So I think yes, VKVs 100%, they have been the basis of our personality, sir.
Great, great. And it is so happy to be part of that whole thing and knowing all of you. All your people, I remember, they all have done something. I mean, of course, you have done something fantastic, but many VKV students are now, it won't be exaggerating to say that अरुणाचल प्रदेश में VKV के स्टूडेंट छा गए. हर हर क्षेत्र में हर चीज में आप देखेंगे तो वीकेवी स्टूडेंट्स अग्रेसर है, ऐसा कह सकते हैं हम लोग.
Yes,
Many
yes,
people say that it is actually, everywhere you see, you people have actually holding the entire fort, and it's a very very important state for us strategically also, culturally also, and economically also. It has got huge potential. In fact, few months back, I had a privilege to write an article in Yojana, which is our Government of India's magazine, on
yes.
Northeast, and I always love to write on that, as you know. So there, I was mentioning one line, which afterwards many people asked me. I said it has got potential to become energy capital as well as tourism capital of India. That much potential it has got. And people were asking me. I said, you please come and visit, and then you will understand that this is what it is actually. You feel this is a potential which needs to be now, and I can see in recent years huge amount of efforts have been taken by government as well as all officials like you to develop it as a really a capital city, a capital state in India, as far as the tourism or energy or urban development, anything you would talk of. It has really come leaps and bounds in the recent times. Is it something which is you can talk about?
Yes, sir. As far as energy is concerned, yes, Arunachal Pradesh is the greenest state in the country with a huge forest cover, and also tribal communities living within the state whose natural way of living is such that you sort of stay in that cover and you respect that cover, forest cover, and try to see that your community grows within the forest cover. So this forest as such. Uh, and also the natural environment as such. For example, hydropower, right? There's a huge potential of hydropower in Arunachal Pradesh. Everybody, the country acknowledges it, and there have been several proposals for dams, you know, dams, but mostly those would be like flood control dams. Also, these are multi-purpose dams that have been proposed in Arunachal, whether they're flood control dams, also producing energy, there is hydroelectricity, and also sort of bringing in tourism. So hydroelectricity is a huge potential, and then it's horticulture and agriculture. It's horticulture and agriculture. There's a huge potential, and now because of roads, the Trans Arunachal highways and other national highways that have been developed in the state in the last 8 to 5 years, the road infrastructure in Arunachal Pradesh has increased and become really good, especially Eastern Arunachal. So now what is happening is that you have many people taking up, horticulture and agriculture in a commercial manner. So
Oh,
there are a lot of progressive farmers who are coming up. And I must say this, that even without government help, many of these progressive farmers have actually come up without government help, because of the area opening up and because of meeting other people, because of sort of gaining more knowledge, whether it is from the internet or social media, and also interacting in expos which the government has organized, and all this agriculture and horticultural meet. So people have become exposed to uh, you know uh, newer technologies to use in their cropping patterns and all that, and also new crops which we would not have maybe traditionally grown, but
okay.
which are grown in similar climatic areas and climatic zones, whether it's southern China or all that. So those kinds of fruits, whether the growth in the increase in the growth of kiwi, or nowadays you even have fruits like persimmon coming up, and people have adopted to growing dragon fruit, which originally I think we see mostly in Thailand. So now people have taken to that, and they have done it personally, sort of they've
Oh,
done themselves privately. And because people are venturing into things like this, so the government is also supporting with different kinds of schemes. So you have your you have your uh, gardening and horticultural schemes, that there are many schemes in which the government is sort of helping out new entrepreneurs uh, to actually invest in such things. Also agriculture, so this is a huge agriculture potential. And tourism, yes, there's nothing how much more can we say about tourism potential of Arunachal Pradesh? It's an absolutely beautiful state, and because we are born into the state, we sometimes don't realize how beautiful that is, the state is. But I remember when I joined rowing as a DC, Lower Dibang Valley as a DC, rowing for years before 2017. that lower Dibang Valley had been cut off, uh, especially during the monsoon. 6 months it used to be cut off from the rest of the state and the country. And yeah, you had to take a ferry, and if there were a lot of floods, or so you couldn't travel across, right? It became difficult. And there were certain areas, they used to call Kalapani, within the district, where you couldn't even go. And it was so
Mhm.
difficult to take your PDS rice materials and other kerosene to help, or medicines, or for doctors to go, or even if teachers, to go on leave and all these things. So that was how the area was. But then before then, this the bridges came up, the Dhola bridge towards Sadia, that came up. Then another bridge through Pasighat area, that came up. And in 2017, when I joined the district, the Dhola bridge had opened up, and the bridge that comes from Pasighat area, that is towards Dambuk, that bridge was still under construction. It was going to, the construction was going to be completed in a few months. And then after 2017, you see a boom of tourists coming. You know, right from just about 50,000 people per year. In that particular year, 17, 18, we had about 2 lakh people coming in.
Oh,
And yeah, so this we ascertain because you have these ILPs, right? The inland permits. So they come, they state the purpose. So a lot of tourists coming in. So there's a huge tourism potential because we are a green state. We are, we promote organic, uh, whatever, organic food and
farming and
organic
everything.
shopping and organic agriculture and horticulture. So that way, and so tourism, and then slowly the government is also training people into, sort of opening up homestays so that you don't have to build huge hotels for a place like this, right? It's a small place. You don't need to have the same infrastructure that you have in Delhi, right?
True.
So here, when people come to Arunachal, you stay in a home of a tribal. So you sort of get to learn the tribal culture, you eat their food, you understand their way of life. That is how it also helps in understanding a culture and leading to national
True.
integration, right?
True.
So
True.
tourism is a huge potential. Also, apart from that, adventure activities. So you have river rafting and zip lining and bungee jumping and trekking, and there's a lot of bird watching. People come,
Yeah.
a lot of foreigners also who come,
True.
especially in the
True.
lower Dibang Valley area. You have the Mehau, your parks, your wildlife sanctuaries.
Actually.
Yes, and then Arunachal Pradesh, the terrain is different for different areas. The elevation is different. So you have tropical, you have temperate, you have snow also. So there is variety also, right? And mix with that cultural tourism, you have so many festivals. Once, especially once a winter season starts until early summer, there are lots of festivals of every tribe happening, dance and food and singing and all that. Then there, apart from the cultural festival, people have also added to festivals like a music festival or an adventure related festival, whether it is the Zero Festival or the Orange Festival at Dambok, or you have festivals in Along, and so many things in which people from across the country are coming, and actually, uh, uh, Arunachal Pradesh has opened up, and people, there are many youngsters now who are actually interested, even if they are not, not just sightseeing, they're interested and they want to invest their energies and their money into understanding the culture and being and experiencing the culture. So that kind of tourism is something that the government is also looking at, and people at their own level are also doing so.
True, very true. I think hardly any other place will have so much of things in one place. So many things, wildlife, biodiversity, natural landscapes, and then the organic things and the culture and the beautiful places to stay. As you mentioned, the traditional costumes, festivals, everything is there.
Yes.
So really a great possibility actually, and add to that all these ecological and environmental things and energy things and all. So a lot of things should come there. Those who are viewing this, I insist that all of them should actually come and visit this beautiful place and experience it, because what we are talking probably will not be understood unless you see it by your own eyes, and you'll realize how rich and beautiful this our part of our motherland is. I remember when, on a lighter note, I remember when we were there, there was one film shooting going on, and the because it's so scenic, people came there and there had some song and all shooting was there. I think that I was in Dapuruj or somewhere at that time, and the shooting was happening somewhere closer to the mountain side, away from, not Dopper, but somewhere in the Tawang Valley, somewhere it was. But we had the news and all. And later on, when the film was released, people mistook that the shooting was done in Switzerland. So you see, this is the potent possibility, and unless you mention it, but we knew it, and therefore we kept on telling people that no, no, this is not Switzerland or any other part of world. This is our own Arunachal Pradesh where this shooting has been done, because we have witnessed it. We know that it has been done there. So that type of you can say world stage also. I doubt if many places are having so much of beauty and all. Somewhere this beauty, Mitali, has come into the people also. People have great aesthetic sense and music sense and the artistic sense. I am really surprised, and also I am deeply motivated by how much artistic people can be. I have seen Arunachal people are tremendously artistic. Their handicraft and the way they handloom they do, and their cottage industries, and every home they will do something. So you have some observation on that, or you have got some thinking on that? Because that is also linked with the women, because many times this is handled by the women, and that is a great possibility actually. So how do you see this?
So, yes, I think that has been the way of life here. The tribal way of life in Arunachal Pradesh has been such that you are so in tune with nature, and you are uh, personally every day in every aspect involved with nature. So all the sounds, whether the musicality of life or everything, you draw your inspiration from nature, right? So when you are aligned with nature, then I think that sense of art and that sense of music, it automatically sort of comes into you. And uh, even now, though yes, slowly we are coming into urbanization, and we are sort of exposing our people and culture to the outside world, but still that touch with the land is still there. So that is how I think, because when I was also in Delhi studying and all that, so people would always say, all northeastern people, you Nachalis or whoever, you sing so well, all can sing, all
Really,
can dance,
really, really.
right? So I think that comes because of the way of life by itself. So constantly there are small festivities in which you come together as a community, and you sort of have small dances to entertain yourself, or to sort of, even if it is ritualism, or even if just for entertainment or just for fun. And then the art in terms of, say for example, weaving, or using bamboo and cane to weave furniture and all that, because that is a thing that you've been using for ages, and you know that that's sustainable, they last you, and it's natural, it's the raw material that you have at hand. So over generations you have been using it. So you are still using it, and people are into this art. And most, actually, it's not just women, yes, most women are into weaving, and maybe, but then in most tribes, like for example, uh, I among the galos, and not just galos, the Khamptis, galos, nishis, and all, men are very good at weaving,
Okay.
like stools, weaving baskets, using cane and bamboo to weave some kind of
Yeah, yeah.
furniture. They're very good at it. And then down towards your Changlang Tirap area, the men are very good at carving. They
Yes,
make
wood
wood,
carving. Yeah.
very good at carving, and they made very intricate bead jewelry. Those people. So I think it's the environment that provides the motivation, and so the colors that you use, you'll see most of our textile patterns, or even if designing pattern on anything, whether it's furniture or whether it is any other thing, when the patterns that we use, they are mostly geometrical in nature, because geometrical in shape, because you draw inspiration from nature, right? And I think the Idu Mishmis have even patented some of their designs, and
Okay.
something like that. So I think, sir, yes, you grow up in nature, your inspiration is nature, and nature is the birthplace for all colors and all music and everything that is interesting in art. And so I feel that is why maybe our people are, they have they are seen to be having this talent, sir.
Great, very, very deeply artistic, basically, very deeply aesthetic and artistic sense, and which also comes in their soft, the behavior also. Because once you are close to nature, and they are you naturally become very good in behavior and the courteousness and the hospitality. We used to get such a great, welcome by the people. So even in their conduct and the behavior and day-to-day practices also, somewhere this nature and the lovingness has come, artistic thing has come. And I feel if we add to that some of the ideas from the modernization, say technological ideas or other things, the combination become great. For example, suppose these artistic things which they are doing, suppose they want some help from the computer designs or something which can be done through animation or something. And if we couple that, some things which are boon of the modern technologies, coupled with the traditional culture, I believe that will become a great combination for this area. Maybe you can think on, or you can think on this with your all this your possibilities.
Yes.
This was one thought. In fact, when I was asked by some people whether we can do it on computer and then make shawls or something out of it, something like that.
It's
So
done, sir. Actually, most of the youngsters nowadays, many people who are actually interested in pursuing a career in design and art, many of us, you know Indrim, right? Indrim.
yeah, yeah.
So, yes. So she's a fantastic artist, and she's always, when we were young, and she was one of the best artists, and she drew so well. So she has got, so like her and many others, they have actually got into using technology to be able to design and do everything they're using. Actually, most of them have actually picked up, because obviously it's easier, plus technology gives you so much bandwidth to actually sort of experiment with so many things. So you have a basic knowledge that as a tradition, you have been able to inherit, or as a culture you have been able to inherit, and this rich tradition and culture, if you are able to use technology to give so many dimensions, then what better than that, sir? So many of our youngsters are doing it, sir.
Great, great. It is always wonderful to talk with you. I had a talk with you when I came for the 25-year celebration. That time also we had a discussion. In fact, that time we were thinking whether we can have some training for youngsters in Arunachal, especially for civil service training. If you remember, we had some talk about that
Yes,
also.
yes.
Will you like to share in general? Because now we are, maybe I won't like to take a lot of time of yours. You are a very uh, busy person, but you took out some time for us. But would you like to say something, especially for the youngsters or for the people of this generation, Arunachal Pradesh, and in general India? Because now it will be listened to, even our people who are in different parts of India, they are going to listen to
Sure.
this. How
So,
will you narrate this?
so actually, luckily now, children are sort of taking to civil services and these competitive exams in the state too, and across the country it mostly has always been there. So now there are several coaching centers that have opened even in Arunachal Pradesh, and people are sort of getting into, also maybe because that way, because the pace of development in Arunachal Pradesh, as far as what we call in sort of industrialization or something, which is not actually there, though we don't actually aspire to have that kind of industrialization, right? Because we have become sensitive to environment and nature, and we want to use our resources in a way that is sustainable for
True.
environment. So we are not actually looking at opening industries and all that, but our kids have sort of over the years taken an interest into getting into the civil services. So you have lots of them preparing, and every year one or two we are seeing they get into either the IAS or the IPS or the IRS. So that is a very welcome
Yeah.
phenomena that has been taking place here. And also within the state, the state's civil services, before it used to, there used to be a lot of delay between two exams, and there used to be years that used to go by before even a government would announce conduct of exams. Now it has been happening more frequently. Now the systems have become more tight and more reliable. So before, there used to be a lot of accusations about sort of money power and muscle power working, but now this is not there anymore, because technology has come in. There's a lot of transparency in the system that's come in. And civil services, I would say, because I am also in the services, I think obviously it's a a good career choice, because like I said before, it helps you to satisfy one, it's a good means of livelihood, right? uh, Number two, it helps you to, it exposes you to so many things that even as a person your knowledge base increases, your personality development happens, you are able to meet more people of different interests in life, and that is an opportunity you get only in the services. And thirdly, and which is the most important, is you are able to contribute in whatever, even in the most minuscule of manner, you're able to contribute to the society at large, which may not be available in many professions. right, sir? However, I would still like to tell all the aspirants that one has to also be realistic, because like I said, this is not a degree that you will certainly get if you sort of put in hard work and so on. And sometimes luck is also there. So one must be practical, one must also have alternative uh, uh, ways for oneself, so that if this doesn't work out, you are not depressed or demotivated that nothing in life will work out. Nowadays there are lots of career choices that have come up. There are careers that have come up which we have never thought of before, right? So some things may to some people seem frivolous, like whether it is movies or whether it is social media or whether it is music and dance, because most parents are a little afraid for the kids getting into such things, thinking that this is not sustainable, every day something that gives you monetary benefits every month. But these are careers one can take to, because the world is changing so much and the world is becoming smaller and smaller, and there are all kinds of services that are needed. So I think civil services are important for our children. Yes, in Arunachal Pradesh it is important for them to also get into the mainstream central services, so that their horizons are also broadened. Most women in Arunachal are sort of coming out and working out and going into other parts of the country and world to actually work out. Mm, and I would like to say that it's a welcome change that has been happening, and it is helping our kids to also think, on a larger scale, on a more macro level, sir.
Great, great. It was so heartening and so wonderful to have this discussion with you. And as you preferred, it was really very spontaneous. We did not plan much. We just went ahead. Maybe that is why became more wonderful. And we
Yes,
got a lot of inputs and a lot of ideas from this. I'm sure you will also like to have this conversation further whenever you get some time, and we look forward to having more and more discussion with you to understand your ideas so that it can be benefited, especially to the people who are aspiring to do something and looking for the service of this our great nation. Uh, I must thank you for all this, your time as well as your deliberation and your opinions and your ideas which you have shared with us so nicely. So, Mitali, once again, thanks from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari and Vivekananda Prabodhini, Mumbai, who are organizing this lecture series. I once again want to thank you and wish you all the best to you, your family, and everybody there for the great success and health and happiness and harmony. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
sir. Thank
for
you so
joining
much,
us
sir.
today.